Hello again, and it's time for another project. Today we're going to do some router work on this Celtic Cross, and then we'll use the scroll saw to cut it all out at the end. You could leave it on the square piece of wood, whatever you want to do, but we're going to cut this one out today. As always, you've got your template pattern, stick it to your wood. This is 1/2 inch pine, it's recycled. This originally come off a wardrobe. Always try and use recycled wood if we can. So we've stuck that down. We've got our carbon paper underneath like so. And literally draw around it all. And that'll transfer the image onto the wood. And that's certainly enough for what we need. You can see I've extended the outline by another groove. Three times on that one. Just so we can get a middle piece. Just to make it slightly different than the template we started off with. The idea today is, once we've routed out all the shaded in areas, we're going to fill this one in with coloured resin. So maybe red all around the outside, nice bit of yellow in the middle, orange, blue. We'll see what kind of colours as we progress in with the project. Okay, before we do that, the little bits, as always for me, are these little CNC bits. These are fantastic things, seriously. They're really cheap to purchase from Amazon, eBay. They do have a small shaft on, which is a 3.175mm, same size as your Dremel shaft, so they will fit into a Dremel. But you need a collet. This is a 6.35mm collet, which is 1/4 inch. That slots in like so. Now that will fit your 1/4 inch router. If you've got an 1/2 inch router, you're going to want a bigger collet. As simple as that. So we'll slot that in there, put that into the router, and what we're going to do is route the line work. Just all the lines we can see on here, I'm going to go around with the router. Apart from the outside one, obviously, because that's the one we're going to use for the scroll saw to cut it out. Once that's all done, we're going to remove the shaded areas. For those, I'm going to put on these mill end bits. These are really cool for clear out. Pick one that actually fits. It fits the same collet as before. So we take that one out, slot that one in, and then we remove the bigger areas, leaving us nice little dams, as I'm going to call them. Little grooves, and then we'll fill all these in with coloured resin, and then give it a sanding down, coat the whole thing with clear resin at the end, save a lot of sanding, because the resin will turn dull once the machine gets on it. And this little project will finish. Okay, let's get this set up in the router and start routing out these lines with our CNC bits. Right, we've made it all the way around with our CNC bit. We've not lost anything. This was the hardest bit, this little strip here. Because I've had to route down one side and literally a mill after it, route down another line. And what we'll do, we'll put on our mill end bit and we'll basically remove all the middle section and all these areas here. If you do find the pencil rubs off, Take the time just to shade in the area that you want to remove. The last thing we want to do is go away, come back and start taking out this section. Remember, we want the shader section that we're going to remove. So take your time with that. It's a little bit deep as this one. Going to use more resin than I was hoping to, but and I also notice as I'm coming around with my CNC bits, it is tugging a little bit. So it's probably a little bit too deep. So just watch that when you do any project. You can always go around it a second time, then going straight in for the kill and just making work for yourself. Okay, CNC bits finished with now. So that's literally just a case of removing that from our collet and slotting in the mill end bit. Now these come in different sizes. I've got 10 in there. I picked the one out that obviously is going to fit down the section we're going to remove. So we'll pop this on and we'll go all around, all again, start clearing out the bits that we need to do. Let's pop that in now. Right, you can see from that we've gone all the way around with our mill end bit. Come out really nice, this one. For old recycled wood, we're not doing too bad. Okay, just general little sanding over. Just get rid of the pencil lines before we start thinking about putting our resin in. We're going to cut it out first on the scroll saw. Okay then, we've gone around with our scroll saw. I am not the best scroller by any stretch of the imagination. I'd rather run short of the line. Can always go around with a sanding burr afterwards and straighten it up, than trying to get too near the line and going over. Got a very thin border to play with here, so I'd rather play on the cautious side of things than make a mess of it. So we're going to go around now with our little sanding drum on our Dremel, and we'll basically just tidy this up. Right, you can see from that we've done all our sanding. We've lost all our pencil lines. Don't be worried if you don't get it spot on first time. That's what sanding drums and sandpaper's for. So you can always sand it down afterwards. You can't add it on if you take too much away. Right, there we have it. Now originally I was going to put linseed oil on here first, boiled linseed oil, and then we'll do our resin. But it's a bit pointless because we are going to sand over the complete thing afterwards. So we'll put our linseed oil on towards the end. Let's go and put some resin inside now. Okay, resin time. As always for me, I'm going to use Amazing Clear Cast. I do like this because it comes in two parts. Part A, your resin. Part B, your hardener. You mix the two together 50-50. Mix for the instruction times and you're good to go. Simple as that. So I mark a container with, we'll say 1/2 inch to 1 inch of A, which is the resin. We'll do 1 inch of B, the hardener, and literally just mix the two together. It does say put into a third container. I've never done that before. So I'll mix the resins off camera. Quite simple to do. Colour wise, you can use inks, powders, pigments, whatever you like, whatever you find, whatever suits you. I'm just going to use some of these little ones that came with the resin to start off with. And I want to go a yellow for the inner circle. I'm going to go green for most of the cross, literally because it's a nice dark colour, and I'll cover most of this knot we have in there. And a red for the outside of the cross. So it's a good mixture. Entirely up to you guys what you want to put in. Okay, I'll mix my resin. We'll drop a bit of yellow in. We'll start in the middle. And we'll start filling this cross up. Now it's just a case of adding our colour. We are going to do that circle yellow. It's all trial and error, is this? These inks are good, you don't need a lot. A couple of droplets. 1, 2, we'll go 3 today, and we'll see. And that's all you need. Little mix around like so. There's our yellow, ready to put in. I like to use these party spoons because they have a nice little lip on the back which you can use as a mini spoon and tip it in gently like so. Okay, we'll start filling in our middle section. I won't film all this because it's the same boring stuff. So just literally a case, we don't need anything down there first, there's no sealant to go on, no clear resin to put on first. And what I also like to do is, there will be some spare left over. I have little side projects going at the same time. Any spare I'll pull into there, that will set as a full mould, circle like that, and then I can use that for other projects. We don't like to waste stuff. So anyway, Lucia's going to start putting this in now. It's quite delicate, there's not a space, so not a lot of messing about. Now it doesn't matter if it overflows slightly because we are going to sand all this down afterwards. Whereas normally I just want it inside the gaps. And that's as easy as it is, really. We get a little cocktail stick and just help it on its way. Okay, I'll do the same with the rest of the colours and then we'll come back when it's time to put this to one side and let it sit. Right, we've got all our bits in. That's quite a slow process, was that? If this was all just one colour, you could just pour it over the whole lot and then sand it off afterwards, but we've had to go a little bit delicate. Okay, the last stage. This should just get a lighter, and all we're going to do is go over it and just burn off those little air bubbles that are lying in there, like so. We'll go over the whole lot and just burn those little bubbles away. And we'll put this to one side now, and we'll come back tomorrow when it's all nicely set. Okay, it's the next day. It's all nicely set. Everything's solid. Got a lovely shine on it. It's a shame to sand it down really, because as soon as we sand it down, it's going to go all dull. Hopefully when we put the resin over the top, it should bring that shine back again. Now we could have left it like this had we not put so much in, but as resin dries, you get the dip in it, and that's cool. It's still a nice look, but on this project I wanted it to run flush with the wood, so we've deliberately filled it in to the maximum without it running into the colour alongside it. So we've got nothing left but to sand it down. Just a basic palm sander. Nothing too fantastic. I think there's a 120 paper in there, and we're just going to skim it off, and hopefully it'll be nice and crispy, lines wise, but it will be dull in colour. But we'll soon hopefully sort that out. Okay, that's all sanded down nicely. We've lost all our shine, but we knew that was going to happen. Okay, before we put our top resin on, I'm just going to darken this wood down again. It doesn't matter if it goes over the top of the resin, just my normal boiled linseed oil. And hopefully it's just going to darken this wood back down again slightly, like so. I'll go around with this over the top of that. Right, we're on the final stage now. That linseed's nice and dry. Just darken that wood down slightly so it's not too bright. What I want to do now is we're going to have to put resin on this one. I was hoping that linseed might have kept it shiny, but yeah, well, it's still nice at that. But anyway, so resin it's going to be. You could spray varnish on this, brush varnish on. Even the spray that I used on my previous project would be easier. But just for my little personal preference, and just to see, I'm going to go with the resin. Just give it a nice shine and see if we can bring them colours back out a bit. So I recommend getting some kind of drip tray, because we're not just going to do the front of this, I'm also going to put resin on the side bits and all. So any drips will fall into there, no problem. Same resin as before, same procedure. We've mixed it all up. We're good to go. And all we're going to do is put some on here and brush it on. You're going to have to sacrifice a brush because there is no, it's just not worth cleaning the brush afterwards. So just to make it a bit easy, I want to do the side bits first. Like so. And you can see that shine on there straight away. You've got plenty of time, there's no rush. Just make sure we get those sides done. And any drips that should come down, we can cut them off tomorrow when everything's nicely set. Okay, I'll continue with this because it is a slow process, and then we'll come back when this is complete. I'll just show you a bit on that colour there. Like so, and hopefully we'll get some of that nice colour popping back again. Right, I'll come back when this is done, and it's time to put our lighter over the top for the air bubbles. Okay, get your lighter as always, and just literally just go over the top like so, and that'll just help burn off any little air bubbles that are kicking about. Make it nice and smooth and nice and shiny. Okay, that's all we can do for now. We'll put this to one side and come back tomorrow. Right, it's the next day. That's all nicely set. Got a lovely shine on it. Nice and solid, as you can see. I gave the back a little sanding down just for a couple of little drips that have gone over. That's all nicely done. I wanted to put a little slit in there with the router just for hanging purposes. You can make a little base and put a doweling rod in there and have it stood upright if you wanted to, or even pop it in a frame. Come out really nice, that resin in the end. A couple of little bits, if I can just get it right. There's a speckle there and a little speckle there. So out of the whole lot, that's not too bad. But I can live with that, that's no problem for me. So there we have it. 11" by 8" Celtic Cross routed out on pine with a resin inlay. Thank you very much for watching.